There are over 5,000 public companies in the US stock market, but only a tiny handful ever earn the title of true blue chip stock. These are the companies that survive wars, recessions, tech revolutions, bubbles, crashes, pandemics, inflation, and changing consumer behavior, and somehow still keep getting bigger, stronger, and more profitable. Today, we're ranking the greatest blue chip stocks of all time, from S-tier legends that built generational wealth, all the way down to companies that looked untouchable and then completely lost their way. We'll be using 5 tiers: S-tier, all-time greats; A-tier, exceptional but not flawless; B-tier, solid performers; C-tier, disappointing; D-tier, total letdowns. And as always, this is for education and entertainment only, not financial advice. All right, let's begin. Stock number 1, General Electric. Let's start with one of the most famous names in American business history, General Electric. At one point, GE was the largest company on Earth. It dominated everything: appliances, energy, aviation, healthcare, finance, you name it. For decades, GE was considered the gold standard of blue chip investing. And then everything went wrong. Bad acquisitions, reckless financial leverage, accounting issues, and a culture that stopped innovating. If you invested in GE in the year 2000 thinking it was safe forever, you spent the next 2 decades watching your wealth slowly evaporate. This is the perfect example of why even blue chips can fail. GE goes straight into the D tier. A legendary fall from grace. Stock number 2, Coca-Cola. Now let's switch from tragedy to consistency. Coca-Cola is one of the greatest business machines ever created. The company sells the same basic product worldwide, uses unmatched distribution, and owns some of the most recognizable brands on the planet. If you invested in Coca-Cola decades ago, you didn't get explosive growth. You got steady compounding, reliable dividends, and unbelievable durability. Coca-Cola has increased its dividend for over 60 years straight. It survived the dot-com crash, the financial crisis, inflation waves, and changing consumer trends. Not exciting, but unstoppable. Coca-Cola earns an A-tier ranking. Stock number 3, IBM. For much of the 20th century, IBM was technology. They dominated computers, corporate systems, and enterprise software. But IBM made the classic mistake. They protected old businesses instead of creating new ones. They missed personal computers, consumer tech, and the cloud revolution. The company didn't collapse, but it stopped being a growth powerhouse. Long-term investors underperformed the broader market badly. IBM goes into the C tier, a blue chip that lost its edge. Stock number 4, Johnson & Johnson. If Coca-Cola is consistency in a bottle, Johnson & Johnson is consistency in a medicine cabinet. J&J sells healthcare products people use every single day. Bandages, medicines, medical devices, pharmaceuticals. They've raised their dividend for over 60 consecutive years. The business survived every economic cycle and grew steadily the entire time. No drama, no hype, just results. J&J is a rock-solid A-tier blue chip. Stock number 5, Microsoft. Now we enter legendary territory. Microsoft's story is insane when you zoom out. They dominated PCs in the 90s, nearly lost relevance in the 2000s, then came roaring back under Satya Nadella and reinvented themselves as a cloud and AI powerhouse. Today, Microsoft sits at the center of cloud computing, enterprise software, productivity tools, and artificial intelligence. If you invested in Microsoft in the early 90s and simply held, you're probably retired. Few companies in history have created as much wealth. Microsoft is undeniable S tier. Stock number 6, Intel. Intel used to own the entire chip industry. Then they stopped innovating fast enough. While competitors sprinted, Intel stumbled. The result? Lost market share, missed technological shifts, and declining relevance. Still alive, still important, but no longer dominant. Intel goes into the C tier. Stock number 7, Walmart. Walmart is one of the greatest business models ever invented. Low margins, massive volume, unmatched logistics, and constant efficiency improvements. For decades, Walmart crushed every competitor in retail. Then Amazon arrived and forced Walmart to evolve, and evolve they did. Today, Walmart is both a retail giant and a major e-commerce and logistics powerhouse. Not flashy, but extremely durable. Walmart earns a strong A-tier ranking. Stock number 8, ExxonMobil. Exxon has had massive ups and massive downs. Oil crashes, energy transitions, political pressure, environmental regulation, and still Exxon remains one of the most powerful corporations in history. But energy is cyclical, unpredictable, and capital intensive. Great at times, painful at others. Exxon lands in the B tier. Stock number 9, Apple. Apple is one of the most valuable companies to ever exist. They turned consumer electronics into luxury products, built an ecosystem people refused to leave, and created one of the strongest brands in history. Apple didn't just sell products, it sold identity. The iPhone alone reshaped the world. If you invested in Apple 20 years ago, your returns are life-changing. Apple is unquestionable S tier. Stock number 10, Boeing. Boeing was once synonymous with engineering excellence. Then cost-cutting, bureaucracy, and management mistakes destroyed the culture. The 737 MAX crisis shattered trust, damaged the brand, and crippled the business. Still important, still relevant, but deeply wounded. Boeing goes into the C tier. Stock number 11, Procter & Gamble. P&G owns your bathroom, your kitchen, your laundry room, and half your house. Tide, Pampers, Gillette, Crest, Bounty, Charmin. They sell necessities people buy no matter what's happening in the economy. They've raised dividends for over 65 years. If you want the definition of a blue chip fortress, P&G is S tier. Stock number 12, Meta, Facebook. Facebook built one of the largest advertising machines in human history. They monetized attention better than anyone. But they've also taken massive risks, burned money on ambitious bets, and faced heavy regulation. Brilliant execution, with high uncertainty. Meta lands in the A tier. Stock number 13, Ford. Ford helped build modern America. But the auto industry is brutal. Margins are thin, competition is relentless, innovation is expensive. Ford survives, but long-term investors didn't do well. Ford belongs in the C tier. Stock number 14, Amazon. Amazon is arguably the most disruptive company in business history. They destroyed retail. They dominate cloud computing. They built one of the most advanced logistics networks on Earth. And they're just getting started with AI and automation. If Microsoft and Apple are S tier,
Amazon is right there with them. S tier legend.
Final tier rankings. S tier legends. Microsoft like Apple, Amazon, Procter & Gamble. A tier exceptional. Coca-Cola, Johnson & Johnson, Walmart, Meta. B tier solid. And ExxonMobil. C tier, disappointing. IBM, Intel, Boeing, Ford. D tier, total letdown. General Electric. Closing. The biggest lesson from this ranking, even the most powerful companies in the world can rise, and fall. The real winners aren't just innovative. They adapt, evolve, and stay disciplined for decades. If you enjoyed this breakdown, let me know which company you think belongs in S tier and which one shocked you the most. And if you want the next video on the best blue chips for the next 20 years, you'll definitely want to catch the next one.
Thanks for watching.